It was the night of the grand reveal when everything came crashing down. The lights, the cameras, and the thousands of fans screaming for Layla, the pop sensation they adored. Yet, the most unsettling noise wasn't from the crowd or the blasting speakers. It was the piercing silence of a microphone dropped to the floor by a terrified girl standing backstage, her voice stolen and her face unknown. I have seen many things in my time working in the music industry, but nothing quite as dramatic and chaotic as the saga of Layla and her stepsister, Kioni. My name is Malik, and I was the stage manager for all the major events where Layla performed. Or so everyone thought she did. Layla and Kioni lost their mother when they were just toddlers. Their father remarried a woman named Shadi, who had a daughter, Layla, from a previous marriage. Kioni's father was always traveling for work, leaving them mostly under the watchful eye of Shadi. It was clear from the beginning that Layla was her mother's favorite. Anything Layla wanted, Layla got. Kioni, on the other hand, was quieter, more reserved, with a hidden talent that only I knew about. She could sing, not just casual, shower time singing, no, but the kind of singing that stops you in your tracks and gives you goosebumps. When the girls were about 10, a local talent scout announced a competition in our small town. Both Layla and Kioni wanted to enter. Layla had the charisma, but Kioni had the voice. A night before the competition, Layla lost her voice due to a severe cold. Panicking at the thought of losing, Shade came up with a wicked plan. She convinced Kioni to sing backstage while Layla lip-synced in front of the audience. Desperate to please her stepmother and to not disappoint her sister, Kioni agreed. Layla won the competition, and that win turned into a local tour which spiraled into national fame. Kioni continued to sing from the shadows, convinced by Shadi that it was for the best. It's Layla's image, but your voice. Together, you are perfect, Shadi would say. As years passed, Layla's fame skyrocketed. Albums were released, awards were won, and world tours were sold out. Kioni was there through it all, singing from backstage, hidden behind curtains, away from the limelight. She wrote songs that broke records, yet her notebook was the only thing that knew the truth. I saw Kioni's frustration grow each day. She longed for recognition, but feared the consequences of revealing the truth. The few times she attempted to broach the subject, Layla would dismiss her, saying, "We are in this together, aren't we? You wouldn't want to ruin everything we've built." The lie grew bigger, and so did the fame and the fortune. Layla became a household name, and Kioni became a shadow, moving silently behind her. I watched them during concerts. The way Kioni's voice would soar as Layla danced and pretended to belt out the high notes. The audience was none the wiser, completely enchanted by Layla's performance. Then came the night that changed everything. It was the biggest concert of Layla's career, set in a massive stadium filled with eager fans. The plan was the same as always. Layla on stage, Keone behind the scenes. But just as the concert was about to start, Keone vanished. Panic ensued backstage. Layla was frantic, her real voice nothing like the recordings. As minutes ticked by, it became clear Keone wasn't coming back. Layla had no choice but to go on stage alone. The intro played, the lights went up, and there she was, standing frozen. Layla tried to sing, but her voice cracked. The crowd grew restless, confused by the stark difference. I rushed to find Keone, my heart pounding with every step. I found her sitting by the docks, her eyes puffy from crying. I can't do it anymore, Malik. I can't let her steal my voice tonight, she sobbed. I sat next to her, unsure of what to say. The sound of the crowd's displeasure traveled from the stadium to where we were, and Keone shivered with each wave. You have to go back, I finally said. Not for her, but for you. Take back what's yours. Keone looked at me, a resolve forming in her eyes. We rushed back to the stadium, arriving just as Layla was stumbling through another song. Keone took a deep breath, walked up to the side stage, and then, in a move that shocked everyone, stepped into the limelight, her microphone in hand. The music stopped. Layla turned in shock, and the crowd fell silent. Keone's voice filled the stadium, clear and powerful, her true voice finally heard. It was chaos. Fans screamed. The media rushed to cover the spectacle, and Layla stood there, exposed. In the weeks that followed, the truth unraveled like a spool of thread pulled too hard. Interviews, news articles, and talk shows all wanted a piece of the story. Keone was hurt, but firm in her decision to reveal everything. Layla tried to play the victim, but the evidence was too overwhelming. It was chaotic, dramatic, and fulfilling in a way. Keone started her career anew, this time in the spotlight, her voice touching souls without any masks. Layla, stripped of her facade, faded from the public eye, a star dimmed by her own deceit. As for me, I stayed by Keone's side, managing her concerts, this time watching the true star perform. In the end, Keone didn't just regain her voice, she found her freedom, a treasure far greater than fame. As the dust settled on the scandal, Keone's career began to blossom under her own name. She released her first solo album, a collection of songs that spoke of liberation, truth, and personal growth. The album was a critical and commercial success, charting not just for its beautiful melodies and soul-stirring lyrics, but also for the story that propelled it. Keone toured around the world, no longer from the shadows, but as the face on the posters and the name on everyone's lips. She sang with a passion unleashed, each performance a testament to her resilience. Crowds came in droves, some out of curiosity sparked by the scandal, but most were drawn by her authentic talent. Meanwhile, Layla faced a harsh reality. Without Keone's voice, her career crumbled. Attempts to launch her own singing career floundered as she could not captivate audiences with her mediocre voice. Interviews often turned confrontational, with questions about her integrity and artistic authenticity. She tried to shift her career toward acting and modeling, but the shadow of her deceit followed her relentlessly. As Keone's manager, I arranged interviews, bookings, and public appearances, always amazed at her grace and composure. She handled her newfound fame with a humble dignity that endeared her even more to the public. Yet, despite her busy schedule, Keone made time to work with young artists, guiding them with lessons learned from her own experiences. She became a mentor and a symbol of artistic integrity. One evening, after a particularly moving concert, I found Keone backstage, quietly looking at a framed photo of her and her father, taken when she was very young. Her eyes were moist, and her voice trembled slightly as she spoke. Do you ever wonder, Malik, if it's all worth it? The fame? The attention? She asked, tracing the outline of the photo with her finger. I nodded, understanding the weight of her words. Do you think it is? She paused, then smiled softly. It is, because now I sing, not just for myself, but for everyone who believed in me when I was invisible. But there's still a part of me that wishes things could have been different. With Leila, the mention of her stepsister brought a complicated silence. Leila had reached out several times, trying to mend their fractured relationship, but the betrayal was too deep, and Keone wasn't ready to forgive. Months passed, and Keone's influence in the music industry grew. She started her own label, dedicated to promoting artists for their talent and not just their marketability. Her label was a direct challenge to the often superficial and exploitative nature of the music industry. One day, during a visit to a local music school where Keone was invited to speak, we encountered a surprise that neither of us expected. Leila was there, not as a star, but as a student, learning music theory and vocal techniques among young, aspiring singers. Their meeting was quiet, devoid of the earlier media frenzy. Leila looked different. The arrogance and pretense had been replaced by a genuine humility. I'm learning, really learning this time, Leila said to Keone, a nervous edge to her voice. I wanted to say, I'm sorry, Keone. Not for the cameras or the fans, but for you. I'm sorry for taking your voice and your dreams for so long. Keone listened, her expression unreadable at first, then a slow nod. I hope you find your voice, Leila, your real one. The sisters spoke for a while, not to reconcile fully, but to acknowledge the past and perhaps to start healing. As we left the school, Keone looked lighter, as if a long-held burden had been somewhat eased. I don't know if we will ever be sisters like before, she confided in me as we walked back to our car. But today, I felt something shift, maybe for the better. Keone's journey was one of incredible highs and profound lows, marked by a truth that cost her everything only to give her back even more. As her friend and manager, I saw firsthand the power of authenticity and the resilience of a true artist. Keone didn't just sing, she lived her truth, and in doing so, she taught everyone around her the value of owning one's voice. In the end, Kioni didn't just transform her life, she transformed the music scene, one honest note at a time. And that was the most beautiful song of all. So this is the end of our story today. I hope you have subscribed though, and I hope you're commenting. Please tell a friend to tell a friend. Like, comment, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to turn on the notification button so that once I post a new video, you will be the first to know. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for supporting me, and God bless you.